Hey everyone, happy new moon in Cancer. My name's Justin. I'm an intuitive tarot reader. I use tarot as well as various other means to channel messages and provide guidance. So I've been thinking about the correlation between like gardening and mental health and how they're just super similar. And there's just tons of different analogies for this idea. Um, I do landscaping full time for two companies, so I do it a lot. So I've had a lot of time to think about this idea as well and kind of get different perspectives on it over this last month. It's been on my mind quite a bit, but just kind of wanted to give some different kind of analogies to give you stuff to think about with this idea and get you kind of thinking about it and making your own analogies. Um, so the first one that came to mind was like how weeding your garden is like maintaining your mental health. Like it's really important to constantly kind of maintain your mental health by like going to therapy or doing self-care or whatever it is that you need to do for yourself. Obviously, mental health um, and our own physical health and all that is a very personal thing. So it's um, going to be tailored to us as individuals. But when it comes down to it, it's just like the need to weed your garden and kind of stay on top of that before it gets out of control. That constant need to just stay on top of it. Um, and then kind of just the idea of like preventative maintenance. So like with landscaping, you can do, I there's some parts of landscaping I don't particularly care for because I try to stay as natural as possible. Um, but there are things you can do like different like weed preventers or whatever. There's some less toxic ones or whatever that are used in our company, but obviously there's worse ones. But that also brings up the idea of like the way you're attacking um, your own mental health. Like you can do it in a toxic way to where it is super effective at first, but then down the road you're going to start to see um, unexpected side effects that you didn't intend to see. So an idea of this could be, this might be a little hardcore, but it is like a wrong approach to self-care. In my opinion, I think most people would agree, but like the idea of performance enhancing substances um, that can be taken as a way to um, like really work on your physical health to help your mental health. And yeah, you might see benefits right away for a while, but then you're gonna have drawbacks to that, obviously. So it's just that idea. Um, but yeah, you can just kind of think of that analogy for yourself with any kind of preventative um, measures you're taking with your own mental health and like the necessity for that. So also just like the idea of getting to the root of the problem is super important. Obviously, like doing therapy is a good way to go about getting to the root of our problems. Sometimes a licensed professional can kind of help guide us to that. And that's something actually I was thinking about with the new moon being in Cancer and Cancer kind of being that motherly energy. Um, Kind of going along with this is like our childhood and our parents' effects on us. A lot of times that is something that needs to be looked at. It can explain kind of our relationships in our life and why we choose the relationships we have. A lot of the times it has to do with our dynamic with our parents. So, um, but it's the same thing for gardening too, like you got to get to the root of the problem in the soil and see what's really going on in there. Like you can do all the you can add all the nutrients and stuff you want, but if you have like something that's toxic already in your soil, like it doesn't matter what you put in there, it's still gonna die, you know. So it's just that idea. Then also gaining perspective and the idea of like perspective and perception. So sometimes we can look at someone's garden or whatever and have our own like judgments or whatever about it. Um, but until you kind of are able to like talk with them and kind of understand their story and why their garden is the way that it is, you wouldn't really be able to see their perception or their own perspective, or you wouldn't be able to gain perspective until you had that conversation with them, and then you would kind of have a better understanding of why their place is the way it is. Whereas if you just come at it with just your perception, you could have like certain judgments about it. But it's also the same idea with mental health. Like what is what doesn't seem like much to one person could actually be huge for that person. It might just not seem like it to you, just based off of your own life experiences. That person could have gone through like just unbelievable amount of things that you aren't aware of. So even just getting through those daily things is huge. So it's just the idea of perspective. And then I was thinking about how we can get overwhelmed if we ignore these things. The need to maintain our mental health by doing self-care, having a therapist, just checking in with people, having someone to vent to, really, even if it's just yourself. Um, but just the idea of needing to address it is super important. Otherwise, it can be overwhelming, and then you can kind of get stuck in kind of a freeze state because you're so overwhelmed, and it just seems like too much to tackle. Whereas if you chip away at it, it gets easier and easier until it just comes like second nature. Um, so yeah, and then I was just gonna say setting time aside, that's something I've been struggling with lately with working so much. I think I mentioned this in a last reading, one of my last readings, for one of the water signs, but pulling like a muscle in my back because I wasn't doing my yoga and stuff. So just that kind of idea too. So yeah, let's just get into the tarot. I think there was a couple other points I wanted to say on that, but you kind of get the idea. Just something to think about. So I saw a new moon reading for Cancer online that I liked that I'm gonna do. It's kind of all about transformation. And when I was looking at this reading, I was thinking how Cancer is like the crab, right? And I was picturing it like going into an ocean because Cancer, being a very loving sign, loves to jump in the emotions of things and just has a lot of love to give. So it is willing to hop in. But it has that hard exterior, so it like protects itself, which is something I'm sure most Cancer placements can relate to. Also, Cancer is in my midheaven, or no, my Chiron is in Cancer. Um, I don't know why, I just felt like I wanted to say that, but it has to do with the wounded healer. That's actually been said in that position that I'd make like a good therapist, or yeah, my life path number is a 9 as well. So it's just kind of the idea of wanting to help other people, which is something I've always wanted to do, but I've struggled with it because I haven't been able to help myself until over this last year, really. I'm starting to really see the change and transformation in my own life. Um, I started the process of getting a new car, so I'm super excited about that. I've been at my wit's end with my last car. So I might be taking on a bit of a loan, but I think it's a good transformation that needed to happen. And I think it will put me into a state of abundance. So that's something I wanted to add before I got into this reading. So for the first position, for the collective, tarot, what is something that is transforming for the collective currently? So I would say giving and receiving and stepping into that with the Fool's energy. Got the Six of Pentacles with the Fool. Um, yeah, just kind of having an blissful naivety about the idea of giving and receiving. I think you are probably starting to look at it from a different angle of maybe not just like so much what can I get for what I put out, but rather just I'm gonna just put it out there and walk into it with the fool's energy and not care about what I get in return. Like the universe will provide. It doesn't matter. Like it doesn't have to be such a give and take, like something that's accounted for. So, and then for the second position, Spirit, what deep healing wants to happen for the collective? This flew out before I could even finish. So, again, I would say probably you got the Four of Pentacles, the Six of Cups. I would say letting go of kind of this need to collect and gain um, material possessions and like probably like the scarcity mindset um, will help you heal relationships. Because with the Six of Cups, that's like about relationships and could be nostalgia, but just with the cups in general, that's kind of about emotions and relationships. So I would say, yeah, letting go of this rigidity and being open to giving and just being a part of relationships in your life is where real healing will happen and deep healing will start to happen in your relationships when you begin to let go of the scarcity mindset and rigidity. So, collective, what are our emotions trying to tell us currently? So, I would say that our emotions have been telling us that we've been working so hard to manifest things and make things happen fast. But maybe I kind of felt this earlier a little bit, but just the idea that it can kind of feel like too much when you are actually starting to see things manifest, and just kind of the need to step back and kind of look at things from a more realistic standpoint or higher perspective or just a more relaxed standpoint. I think it can be easy to step into momentum, especially with someone who's neurodivergent. It's kind of easier to step into things with that momentum, but it can be hard to keep that perspective in the moment when you're going until you really sit back and take a moment to breathe. Then you can actually see that perspective. So I think that is kind of what our emotions could be telling us. I kind of worded that weird, so I think that's kind of why I had to do with me a little bit too. So, Spirit, what foundations are being set for the future of the collective? So I would say um, just the idea of really beginning to look inward. I always think of the dreams. When I think of the moon card, I always think of analyzing your dreams. So that could be something that a lot of you are doing. Also, you have I think it's a lobster, but I always think of Cancer when I see it. Or actually, I think it's Scorpio, but for some reason I was thinking of Cancer too. Um, yeah, I think just the idea of being willing to look at our subconscious is kind of a foundation that is being set for the future. Maybe manifesting your dreams as well by looking within and letting go of certain beliefs or things that were keeping us stuck. Say, just analyzing our subconscious in whatever way you're doing it is setting a foundation for your future to be abundant. And then for the next position, what abundance is entering in to the collective's lives. So I would say being able to let down our walls and let things in, and it being beneficial for us. So kind of just the idea that we're not going to have to keep our walls up because there's going to be so much abundance that you're not going to have to like keep a hold of what you have because there will be enough to go around. And then spirit, how can the collective help abundance grow? So just beginning to, or continuing to have a motherly approach to stability and being gracious with yourself. Obviously, when we start new habits, it can be easy to step into our old ways. So just not being so hard on yourself when you notice that you are doing that. Um, this will actually help your abundance grow by just being more forgiving um, and less rigid. This will actually cause you to be less rigid and get out of this Four of Pentacles energy. So yeah, just really embody that Cancer energy. And then I wanted to pull from the Dream Interpretation deck because the Moon card came out. So money came up reversed, like covered. So I'm thinking Spirit wants you to have less of a focus on money and more of a focus on building your home and the keys that are gonna that you're gonna gain from kind of these letting go of like being focused solely on money. Rather be more focused on building your house. I really like this artwork, by the way. Um, yeah, just kind of being more focused on the doors that'll be open for you by stepping into this abundant energy. Also, 13 could be a significant number. I was going to say 131, and then 1357 has been coming up a lot for me lately. And then I just want to pull a self-care card. just to stay on theme with self-care, something I like to address. Spirit, what is a self-care practice that the collective would benefit from incorporating into their lives at this moment? Flow like water. So obviously I think of Bruce Lee, but also I think of just the Cancer energy and being willing to kind of flow in those ways like a crab. I don't know if crabs flow, but um, just being willing to go with the flow of things and not really be so rigid. It's just that kind of idea again. And being willing to explore the depths of your emotions and see where they lead. Because I think it'll be super beneficial for you and bring you more abundance than you even believed. Yeah, you could have. So, yeah, I think I will stop it there. So, I hope you have a great fourth if you celebrate that, and I hope you enjoy this new moon. I think new moons are always a great time to start new things and manifest new beginnings. So, I wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.